A theme of Fahrenheit 451 that exists at the intersection between the symbolism expressed by books and technology is a term that I like to call mindlessness versus mindfulness, or MVM for short. This duality serves as the central form of conflict within the novel, as the mindlessness perpetuated by the walls and the broader state apparatus is in constant opposition to the mindfulness and perception symbolized by books and those who read them. A similar conflict arises when we analyze our society's use of media technology. Like Mildred, many of us can spend substantial portions of the day mindlessly scrolling through social media without actually engaging in the form of mental stimulation that other forms of media such as books can often provide us. Comparably to those in the novel, our society values quick, highly commodifiable digits that enable us to perpetually consume without meaningfully benefiting us as individuals. The relationship between books and fire within the novel is one of repression and censorship, wherein the destructive force that is embodied by fire is used by the state through the implementation of fire to destroy critical thought symbolized by books. This relationship is what allows the reader to infer Bradbury's attempt at creating a political allegory through his references to Nazi book burnings and McCarthyism. Regarding the former example, Bradbury draws parallels to his explicit use of imagery. Like the Nazis, the Firemen would locate books, which their society viewed as a form of degeneracy, and systematically eradicate them, in a manner that would create the aesthetic of an all-consuming and imposing bonfire. The latter case involves a comparatively figurative allusion to the ideology of the state and society within the novel. That is to say, the physical repulsion and condemnation of those who possessed and read books by the state, and especially their fellow peers, mirrors the devastating implications that simply being accused of being a communist held during the McCarthy era. Within the context of Fahrenheit 451, the hound is a mechanical creation of the state which is employed by the firemen for the purposes of tracking and destruction. It is composed of copper wire, storage batteries, and electricity, and can be made to detect and memorize the chemical balances and percentages from the slightest touch of amino acids of a wanted individual, and then incinerate them if prompted. This chimera of devastation is the ultimate symbol of the state's destructive potential, which exists at the intersection between the use of fire and technology. It serves as the perfect fusion of technological advancement and the primordial quality of fire as a tool of destruction for the express purpose of serving the ideology of the state and, ironically, regressing the intellect of society. It is almost omnipotent in its capabilities, as once it has one scent, there is virtually no chance of escape. No matter how fast you run, it'll always run faster. No matter how far you run, it'll always catch up. The only reprieve from its psychologically devastating effect is to submit to its will and power and be burnt. Thus, the mechanical hound serves as the ultimate tool of the state in the battle of MVM. Likewise, many of the hound's capabilities have already been mirrored and implemented by the state in our era. Instead of massive databases of individual scents, governments and corporations have infinitely expanding lists of their civilians and customers. More importantly, these databases have historically been used to identify protesters using facial recognition software and arrest them in their houses. Our world has mechanical hounds of their own, only decentralized and incorporated into the use of databases, facial recognition software, and policing.